Yo, family. What's good? Welcome back once again to another daily live stream. And if you haven't heard already, there is a very high likelihood that there's going to be another government shutdown. Last time was in October. And we know what happened in October, don't we? We remember what happened in October. We saw Trump issue tariffs on China in and around the biggest liquidation event in history, and also October was the month that started the government shutdown. We can go back and look. Bitcoin at one point was at 126,000. The shutdown only lasted for about a month. I say only, it was the longest shutdown in history. So we made history, not for the good reason, with the longest shutdown ever in history that happened at the end of 2025. And now, with the recent developments, there is a possibility, and a strong one, that there's going to be another one. And we're going to talk about that alongside some other important information, some Kaspa updates, what to look forward to in these markets. And for those who are either YouTube channel members or those who are part of the VIP community who have a lot more in-depth insight, you would have not just got access to all the information, but also would have been able to watch the recent executive roundtable that we did post to our members on this channel. So if you are a member, if Falco has blessed you, as he does so frequently, shout out to you, my man, then you would have seen that roundtable, you would have seen what we have spoke about, what we had predicted, and we spoke about this about 5 hours ago, and the markets are playing out exactly as expected. And the funny part about that is the markets, the TradFi markets, aren't even open yet. Right now, gold and silver, they're up because of what happened when the markets closed on Friday. When the markets open tomorrow, there's a strong possibility that gold's going to surpass 5K. It's going to go parabolic as the sentiment stays strongly in risk off. And we're going to probably see crypto correct further. Of course, crypto is 24/7, so it can react frequently, but it does still follow along with the general market. Right now, Bitcoin has seen a lot of headwinds, now valued at 86,400, down almost 3% today. And there's a strong possibility that we'll see Bitcoin make this push back down here. That's what we spoke about with the VIP, with C Crypto, our experienced trader and our TA expert. He had highlighted that the trends and the structure for the likes of Kaspa and Ethereum actually looked relatively bullish, but the problem is Bitcoin was looking extremely bearish, and the market still very much follow along with Bitcoin. And we could just simply analyze that by looking at the Bitcoin dominance, 59.9% and rallying. So with Bitcoin showing weakness, the markets are following in suit. Kaspa's down 6.41%. Qantas down 7.36, AVAX 5.8, Omdu 6.5, Zebex 6, Tau 6, Render 8. The speculative and higher risk assets are equally down, plus 10%, unsurprisingly. And people are panicking. Even Solana's down 7%. Solana's one of the big caps, which is quite insane. Now, what we did speak about yesterday, which was reassuring, was that Kaspa had managed to make quite a nice pump, where Kaspa didn't end up realistically finishing within the support band. It somewhat did, but obviously today's news has caused an inverse and a price drop. But we saw Kaspa make a nice pump yesterday, which was up about 4 to 5%, give or take, 3.6%. And that was reassuring and, if anything, necessary, as we can see now. Without that pump, Kaspa would likely be hovering around the zone right now. But that little relief for Kaspa yesterday allowed Kaspa to have a higher foundation, a higher floor. With Bitcoin seemingly on track to come back down further, depending on the developments with this approaching government shutdown, unless there's a solution that's figured out, we will see Kaspa likely come back down to the support zone that we have been talking about since the beginning of this year. This was a zone that we have been analyzing as a possibility. And that's not to spread FUD, it's to spread my personal analysis and my personal thesis. Of course, not financial advice, always do your own research. To get into this a little bit then, Jake Sherman here had made a post talking about the breaking news, how the Democrats said they won't be advancing funding bill with DHS, the Department of Homeland Security. The long and short of it is the DHS bill, they realistically want to increase or provide funding to ICE. And I don't know how much you've been hearing about the ICE situation in America. Of course, I'm in the UK, so my understanding of it is purely what I see on social media. I've not lived in the states where ICE activity is taking place, but from what I've been seeing, for the most part, there's not really anyone who's fully aligning with ICE, especially after recently. I'm not going to get into it too much because that'll probably get me demonetized on YouTube, but it's not looking good right now. And understandably, therefore, people are not happy. Dems are saying we are not going to advance a bill that's going to give more funding to this agency, to this federal agency in ICE. And as a result of that, therefore, the odds of a government shutdown by next Saturday, 31st of January, are sharply rising. A 77% chance now we could see a shutdown before Jan 31st. The only ways that I see this being avoided is either if the Dems cave in or if the Republicans and the DHS and ICE fundage caves in. Now, if I'm to give my personal thesis on this, and of course, this could play out in any manner, whether the Dems give up, the Republicans give up. Will we see another government shutdown record being broken? I can only hope not. And I do believe we won't. And the reason why, it all correlates once again to Trump's midterms. It is, I'd like to believe, common knowledge by this point that Trump is not in a good spot to win the midterms. And he kind of needs to. Without winning these midterms, the House take more control back. The Dems take more control of the House. And it gives Trump less freedom to be able to enforce rules or laws, whatever he wants to do. So he needs to win the midterm. The only way he wins the midterms is if the general economy, and more so those who have some level of power of the Congress, they're feeling like the economy and they're making money. Which is why I've been reiterating that when Jerome Powell steps down in May, you'll likely see a new Fed chair take place that's going to completely align with Trump. It's going to basically be a shadow Fed chair. It's going to be Trump effectively being the new Fed chair. They're going to slash interest rates. They're going to print a lot of money, send these risk on markets parabolic, soaring higher, which will have a lot of very problematic issues in the long term. But in the short term, you'll send the markets a lot higher, which is good for the risk on sentiment. And that's how you'll see people start to align with what's happening in Trump. A lot of people start to therefore, vote Trump so he wins the midterms as well. But if there's a government shutdown, if this continues, the possibilities of that happening with Trump winning the midterms significantly decrease. And that won't be beneficial for his administration at all. So I think there's a possibility you might end up seeing a bit more of a pushback and maybe caving in from the Republicans this time around, but of course time will tell. In regard to what we have seen last week, therefore, in regards to developments, we've seen another government shutdown now potentially on the way, a potential new 100% tariff on Canada, to which Trump has also made a message here saying that Canada is systemically destroying itself. The China deal is a disaster. We'll see how that develops, of course, but Canada right now seem adamant they're going to stick with China right now, which, take it or leave it, that is not ideal. Trump is still actively looking to acquire Greenland. He said he's not going to do any military action, but he's still looking. And apparently there's also developments happening in regards to the United States heading towards Iran again, which is not good. DOJ investigating Chair Powell, which ultimately not too disastrous right now, but it does spell a lot of negative correlation to the next Fed chair, that if they do not align with what Trump is doing, they're going to end up being in a similar spot right now, and so on and so forth. So this is the current call for concern, why the markets are bleeding in the way they are right now, as investors are worried about the next step taking place. Investors right now are very, very worried about what's taking place right now. And this is why we are looking at the markets and why we are informing people, I've been informing you lot, the community watching right now, of what's taking place, and those who are tuning in earlier, like joking, into the VRP Executive Roundtable, and those who've also watched the video that's uploaded to the members on this channel would have looked through and seen exactly what's taking place, what's happening next week, and also the institutional insights as well, in regards to while this is taking place, while we are seeing this FUD growing more and more and likely going to get worse in the short term, the mid to long term for 2026 still looks fine. The institutions are focusing on this. all they're doing right now is holding off as they've been doing anyways and continuing to build more and more and more. This is one of the documents from Dow Jones, which posted the VIPs already in a lot more breakdown, a lot more information in there as well. I'm only going to briefly go over this right now. But this here is very, very important, where it talks about the factors that matter most for investors regarding AI, crypto, and tech stocks in regards to what will be the winners. In 2026, the winners won't be companies with the best product demos or highest valuations. Instead, they will boast sustainable economics, regulatory compliance, and balance sheets strong enough to survive the stress test ahead. Long or short of it is, while we are seeing so much in regards to geopolitical tensions or so much uncertainty right now, investors don't care about that. What they care about is finding the infrastructure, the assets that will generate them gains and survive these turbulent times right now, that are actively making money. So when you're looking at the, this sort of information here, there are a number of cryptos that are seemingly already in favor. I believe XLM is one that has been deemed as in favor with these institutions. Now, will that be the case for the long term? I hope not. I think Kaspa will definitely get into that, especially when it comes to regulatory compliance, considering what Kaspa KRI are doing, or Baker McKinsey already highlighted that 2026 will reward those that can transform legal and regulatory challenges into efficiencies and competitive differentiations. With Kaspa and its Warp Core and KRI's Warp Core, banks are able to utilize Kaspa's 10 BPS architecture while retaining their own self-sovereignty, saying are compliant with their own local laws. So, and we already know that Warp Core is getting looks in by the FCA and by other regulators, according to Rory, as we heard on Tuesday, and that there are already banks utilizing it, and it's easier to adopt Warp Core than it is to adopt the other protocols because there's a lot less regulatory uncertainty around Warp Core. So this could also be an indicator into regards to Kaspa again, because what these institutions are all looking at right now, the biggest factors all correlates around regulations and able to surpassing these hurdles that are still currently in the way. We haven't got the Clarity Act just yet, and while there is speculation we could see it soon, with a government shutdown approaching, potentially, that will delay it again, which is not ideal at all. So those that can supersede regulatory hurdles and challenges, and those that can survive the stress test ahead, and Kaspa, proof of work, people continuing to mine it, that will help allow it to survive the long haul, at least in my personal belief. Although, agreeably, because Kaspa's not doing well in price, more and more miners are turning it off because they're not making money. So we'll have to see how long it goes, but I'm not worried right now. The short term's looking bleak. This is the opportunity, if you will, where we're looking to make some short trades. And we'll see what pans out from it, but there's going to be a lot of short opportunities coming through soon. And then once this situation has ended up resolving itself, you'll see the markets make a recovery. And we've got a lot more of this to get through, but before we do, we'll get into the questions real quick. Welcome back once more, family, to the channel. Hopefully you're having a good weekend, albeit the markets are looking so great right now. Welcome back, Wyatt, bro. First, Lowell missed the live, have to work. Shame to hear it, brother. Hopefully you're doing very well, though, as you are probably already with us now anyways, but welcome. Hope you're doing very well, my man. By the dip, I mean, there will be more corrections ahead. So, I mean, that's up to you as your own investor. I'm not a financial advisor. I do predict that Kaspa could probably come back down to 3.6 again, potentially. And that'll be probably what I'm looking to get in my next bag. We'll have to wait and see. Welcome back, Gosu, bro. You're doing very well. And you too, Lau, as well. I scooped some today just to say I bought at 3 cents. Well, there you go, exactly. 3.9 cents right now, down 3.6%. Technically, you did buy at 3 cents, albeit close to 4. But, I mean, yeah, I think we do see some more downside, though, especially when the TradFi market opens. You're going to see likelihood you're going to see a massive rally in gold and silver, your safe havens, and a bigger capitulation with your risk on particularly crypto. This is very, this is the government shutdown last one we had was only 4 months ago. But having another one potentially on the cards is not good at all. Welcome back, baby Danny man. You're doing very, very well. And you too, Blaze, and you too, Dung Knight. Loving the cheaper Kaspa right now. Keep stacking, as you should. Of course, in the belief that Kaspa going to do very, very well. And I do believe it will do. This year, all the information, this executive roundtable we posted earlier, it gives crystal clear institutional confirmation that this year is going to be huge. And the information and documentation we have in the VIP further gives clarification to that and how Kaspa could be such asset that will perform very, very well. Welcome back, Tony Bro. You're doing very, very well. Took head short on the lower high, got stopped out of the long, 1K in profit. Love that. Massive bag, brother. Keep going, my man. That's really good to hear. I'm glad. And yeah, I think we could potentially see a short coming out right now. So not a bad shout at all. So great stuff there. Welcome back, Andy. I hope I get my free Caspa website up soon. The site that you can earn Caspa from surveys and other tasks. That would be a really, really nice little application, other quality of another exposure to Caspa and getting more recognition to the project. So yeah, I mean, as soon as you get that up, man, let us know. That'd be interesting to see more about it. Abolish the filibuster. Yes. I'm 1,000,000% behind us operations. Those both are morons wouldn't be. I mean, that is your personal belief, Kryptoni. I disagree from what I have seen. And yes, of course, social media you can only believe so much of what you see on social media. And that's why I reiterated at the beginning, I'm in the UK, so I'm not seeing it live in the streets. But from what I have seen so far, especially what we saw recently in Minneapolis, I don't see why that's the fault of anyone but ICE. I don't personally see that. Again, I'm not going to talk about it too much on stream due to the potential of being demonetized, because it's not something you should be talking about online, especially on YouTube's platform. If you want to take this into the Discord server and talk about it there, then I'm more than happy to. But I think there are certain. I think it's I don't personally think that, especially what happened in Minneapolis, is something that I would be behind ICE for, because I'm failing to see as to how, when that situation took place, because I've seen multiple videos from it, from multiple bystanders, because unfortunately this sort of news does call it to the markets. I don't want to see this stuff. Trust me, I don't. I hate it. It makes me really upset. It makes me furious, actually. I don't want to see it. And I have to look at it. When I see it, I want to turn off, but I have to look at it because it does correlate to what we're looking at here. They physically impact the markets. Because it's political. What's happening right now is more sort of a political thing. He didn't, Kryptoni. I'm not sure what you saw, but he didn't. The video, it was hosted in his back pocket, and he was licensed to carry it. If you have evidence to prove otherwise, then show me it. But the videos that I saw, it was hosted in his waistband behind him, and he had a license to carry it. They took it off him before, what happened. He didn't like flash it around. Not from what I saw. But again, I'm not getting too much into that. That's not the premise of today's stream. It's not the premise of this channel. This channel is purely just covering the developments that happened, how it's impacted the markets, and at least what I expect will happen next. That's simply what it is. Billionaires make money off illegals. More customers means more money. Yeah. There are other channels for politics. Yeah, I agree, Steak. That's why I don't try to talk on it too much. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, politics and finance now go hand in hand. Especially in the markets we're in right now. Macroeconomics means so little. It means so little for markets right now. It's purely all political and geopolitics. That's all that matters for the markets right now. So when we're talking about crypto, unfortunately, we have to talk a lot about politics now. I don't want to. I really don't. But we have to. And what's happening in this situation right now of ICE, it is also a political thing as well. So I have to highlight it. I don't want to talk too much on it, but I have to highlight it. And this is why we're seeing the markets correct right now, because of the situation happening right now. Dems are now saying, well, we're not going to fund the Department of Homeland Security and ICE, so we're not passing this bill, and therefore a government shutdown seems to be approaching. Good evening, Dan. You're doing very, very well, my man. And you too, Rizzy. Anyway, Caspa is great. I agree. Blue Bullet. The lower it goes, the more I like it. Still collecting as much as possible. Good to hear, my man. Okay. Again, I'm not talking about this on stream, Kryptoni. If you want to talk about it in Discord, that's fine. You want to talk about it offline, that's fine. I'm talking about it on stream right now. But the way I see it, it still wasn't excusable enough for what happened. They disarmed him. They didn't have to then follow after that. They disarmed him beforehand. The last part of the part that actually people are more so upset by was not necessarily after already disarming him. But that's as much I'm going to say on the topic now. That's literally the last thing I'm going to say on the ICE situation in Minneapolis. And we're going to move on. Either way, markets right now aren't looking great. They aren't looking great. And we'll probably see more pullback in the immediate short term. Good evening, Greza. Hope you're doing very well, my man. But we have looked through this document here, which comes from Dow Jones, which is significant. If you don't know who they are, look it up. And they talk about the winning companies here in regards to who's going to be the winners, what matters. The whole information is here as well, which you want to find all the information out. I highly recommend checking out the VIP community. You can get a bit of an insight if you are a YouTube member and you look through and listen to the roundtable that took place earlier today. But you can have access to the full documentation and the rundown and the insight on it in the VIP. You can join for a 7-day free trial, or equally, you can join for a month through our BYDFI affiliate exchange and get access to many other benefits with BYDFI, no KYC exchange, 70% discount on all future trading fees, and then with the VIP, access to educational content, portfolios, private live streams, trades, and much, much more as well. But this is what we're looking at right now. And what we're hearing here is giving us, what they're telling us right now, institutions, they are not looking at these headline noise news. While important for short term, not looking at it. What they're looking at right now is where the market's going to be going in the next 3 to 4 months from now and beyond. And for what we're seeing right now, I think Kaspa is in a position where it'll start seeing a lot more coming through. They talk a lot about stablecoins being big for 2026 for institutions as well. And beyond to that, we should remember and understand that in regards to stablecoins, Kaspa will have stablecoins coming out with IGRA and with Casplex. So not on the native layer 1, but stablecoins, potentially native stablecoins on those layer 2s, but they're coming out in this first quarter as well, nearing the end of March, I'd like to believe. So if that stays true, that's fantastic. And that would be a great, great catalyst for Kaspa, given what institutions are looking at right now. And also be a nice proof of concept, POC, in regards to what they are looking for. KRI is already doing that. But you have it actually through IGRA and Casplex as well, be even better. We also got an update from KRI here, speaking of them as well, with their warp core already being, seemingly doing quite well. They also made something here, got Agent Flow. I have no idea what it is. I'm assuming we'll find out more very, very soon. But KRI have been making a lot of very, significant posts recently. We have GeoSeal came out very recently, which was very significant. Now we've got Agent Flow. We already know many others in regards to warp core. Gigawatt, ZETX, Olive Chain, and Rory had confirmed in other meetings and in podcasts that there are another 20 or 30 more that they have not even publicly mentioned. They've got a lot going on with Kaspa, and they are very, very bullish on this project. And I think what they're building is going to be significant. It's going to take time to get the adoption, and that is probably the biggest battle for Kaspa right now as a test of time. Because a lot of the information we're looking at right now suggests that 2026 is going to be the inflection point, flip the switch year. After this year, the winners will already be decided. So will Kaspa have the time to make it? I believe it will do. Crypto Odie here made a post, which I didn't get the liberty of looking through, but apparently it was a very critical post of the KII, where he apparently was speaking from frustration and also he was being foolish. And he's come to realize that actually he maybe has been a bit too harsh about it. But he was a bit frustrated by the fact that many, which I have also been a part of that in full honesty, have claimed that the security budget for Kaspa will be solved with KRI and the projects they're building, like Warp Core. That kind of certainty can unintentionally cause people to go inactive, waiting for something to happen that be promised instead of building. Which I agree, that is a fair analysis to make. We are in a very real 2-year crunch when it comes to security budget. And to be clear, we don't have 2 years to start solving this. We have roughly 2 years to people have to adopt our solution, and we're behind the schedule. And I would also care to agree. I would believe maybe slightly less than 2 years. But I think that what is already being done will give Kaspa. I think Kaspa is still, it is late by many means. I think we are definitely behind the curve a little bit, but I think we are making the necessary developments to catch back up. What IGRA is about to release, the stablecoin is about to come on board with Kaspa as well. KRI and releasing more of their project publicly now seems like they are also understanding that we need to start speeding up and start to push out these initiatives. As someone who knows this subject well, I see a large possibility we are forced to consider options like a tail emission. And here's the truth, breaking out of the echo chamber is uncomfortable, and that's exactly why most people don't do it. It is easy to post in the same circles when everyone is already agrees, likes, retweets, and nods along. That's all productive, but it's mostly just recycling momentum. The real growth happens when you intentionally step into places you are not validated. where people don't know Kaspa or they don't care about Kaspa. You know, Bitcoin maximalists, or even going to XRP maxis or the other communities, right? The other communities, and trying to preach about Kaspa. And of course, it may not feel comfortable doing so, but this is how you get Kaspa adopted to really, really grow. If our ideas never leave Twitter, they'll never become a culture. And I cannot agree with that. I could not agree with that anymore. Like, it's a very, very fair point Odie's made here. And he's apologized to Roy because he was not trying to aim at him. And I think that's fair enough as well. And they responded to this, saying that changing big, established industries is very, very tough. And I think that's what many people don't seem to realize this. That what KRI are aiming to do and what ultimately we are aiming to do, but on our belief for Kaspa, is we're trying to significantly rewire and restructure the financial landscape. That's already happening with blockchain, as confirmed in all of my documentation and my premium insights. But is Kaspa going to be in that conversation? I think it can be. I think it should be. The question is only a matter of time. In regards to trying to change a massive established industry, it's like trying to turn a massive oil tanker at sea. It doesn't happen quickly, and Kaspa faces old systems, doubt, and resistance. As well as Bitcoin maximalists and endless consultants selling crypto blockchain solutions, but with steady efforts from miners and Kaspa community supporters, will steer it towards success. True change takes time and persistence, not instant jobs. As Dan, the legendary, says, look to your own workplace and ask yourself, would the super fast global decentralized utility like Kaspa benefit your own business or industry? Maybe in logistics, supply chain, finance, etc. And also Kaspa Commons made some very, very big posts about this as well. And in fact, he made a post here agreeing to what Kaspa Silva has stated a little bit over 6 or so months ago, where Kaspa Silva stated, people aren't fully seeing it yet. Kaspa will draw in tons of cypherpunks in the coming years. And we've got currently a Kaspa-thon happening right now that will help in that endeavor. And it's truly making proof of work great again. Being a part of Kaspa today gives the same vibes that so many got early Bitcoin adopters so excited to join Bitcoin. The only problem is, once more, it's a matter of time. But I think we have that time. I do. Especially if we continue seeing the markets correct in the manner they're doing so. We continue to see these markets continue to see headwinds based on geopolitical tensions and what's happening in America. That gives us more time. This is also what Roy said. When we had that, and the video I made a video clipping some down from the KRI. The video here, where KRI, Roy, and Neil effectively confirmed that Trump's tariffs are bullish for Kaspa. This is based off the document that you saw from the IEA, where they said, amid ongoing geopolitical uncertainties and renewed volatility in energy markets, energy security has once again become a top priority. If we see more of this stupidity and this butting of heads, then people are going to get increasingly uncertain. And will you choose Ripple XRP, knowing that Ripple is a US-based entity while claiming decentralized, they're US-based? You know, will you choose XLM Stellar? Similar story. Solana? Cardano? Litecoin? Which one are you going to choose as your infrastructure layer when these are all centralized crypto companies? Or will you choose one that is truly decentralized with no central governance, that is a global settlement layer that is decentralized? We may be behind the curve, but I don't think we're late by any means to capture the significant amount of market share that's about to come into the space. We would also say that there will be a new breed of cyberpunks, ones that are not just reacting to the economic meltdown of the time, which is basically what we're doing here, although I wouldn't say we're melting down, or we're reacting to the economic meltdown, but I like to believe that we are ones who are not acting in emotions. We're thinking about this logically, about what's happening right now and how it impacts the markets, you know? But our future forward thinkers that see adoption needs to include bridges strategies and touch more aspects of everyday people's lives versus a more raw, analytic, take down the man mindset. And here's the thing, the world needs the Bitcoin movement. It ignited the revolution around decentralized finance. It made governments and banks fearful to the point where they're not even adopting it now. They know they can't avoid it. So it isn't a diss against the Bitcoiners, but a genuine nod at them, acknowledging that they didn't have the tech, tools, or resources that we do now, and that it may have failed the full mission by huddling around tech developers primarily, but today Kaspa is kind of that solution for that. If Bitcoin was the test net, Kaspa is the mainnet, you know? This is how we see it right now. And we have got developments taking shape. That's good. On board many more people in the cyberpunk space. The one thing that is important to note though, and it's great seeing cypherpunks coming on board. We need the adoption from everyone. Cypherpunks is a niche space, and to survive now, and it's what KRI is doing. They're not saying to their partners like SGCC, look at Kaspa, it's a great crypto. No, they're saying, look at this amazing piece of infrastructure. We have to start talking about Kaspa as that, not as a crypto. It is a crypto, of course. It is a cryptocurrency, but if we continue categorizing Kaspa as a cryptocurrency, and it's great getting cypherpunks on board, but it's never going to leave that bubble, or it's going to take a lot longer. If we are worried about the time it's going to take for Kaspa to get the adoption, stop talking about it as a cryptocurrency. Talk about it as a piece of infrastructure. Don't even use the word crypto for it anymore. Just talk about what is coming out to this space. Talk about how, with these growing geopolitical tensions, the need for Kaspa is only growing more and more and more. Because that's the fact of the matter is, that's what KRI realized, that's what many world leaders now realizing. The importance of sustainable data centers with the growth of AI, and the winners will be those that embrace flexible, principle-based regulations that can bridge the gap between what's happening in America and their regulations and what's happening in Europe and their regulations. Because MiCA and stablecoin bill in America, the Genius bill, they're both good in regards to getting adoption, but they both also differ in their own way. The way MiCA's bill and policies are set up for their stablecoins differs from what happened in America. So that means companies that have got branches in both America and Europe, they're going to struggle bridging that gap. With Kaspa, with Warp Core, there's no issue between the political regulatory frameworks in America and Europe. You continue to stay along with their own regulations and use a decentralized ledger in the middle. That's the benefit that you have with Kaspa. That's the benefit you have. We got this post as well, also quite interesting, which is a bit of a speculative post here, but maybe Bunzy's onto something here. OKX made a post here saying probably nothing, with MasterCard OKX card coming out, which is huge. You know, another key indicator that TradFi is merging with DeFi. Very big indicator there. The speculative post here saying MasterCard partnership with Kaspa listing, which is a plus tier, all at one, plus bridges between TradFi and DeFi through Kaspa with native stablecoins thanks to VProgs. GG, we did it. Of course, this is very forward-looking, but by no means at this step. MasterCard partnership with OKX is definitely confirmed, or seemingly confirmed, which is great. We know we got Wallet One, who's stacking more Kaspa, which right now, have a quick look. I don't know if they bought more today. I'll have a quick look right now. They have not bought more today. They're currently holding 1.316 billion, holding almost 5% of the total supply. We have no idea who it is right now. Hopefully we'll find out in due time. But we do know that bridges between TradFi and DeFi are growing, and KRI is doing that with Kaspa, and we're seeing other, you know, merchants also doing similar things. Wolfie's technically doing that by able to offer Kaspa as a form of payment or fiat. We're going to have stablecoins on Kaspa. We don't know if it's native just yet. We know that Ashton and Kaspa confirm stablecoins are coming on their respective layer 2s, but they're not so sure that we haven't got confirmation it's native yet, but I'm sure that happened in due time. But as they highlighted, it's a very expensive process, and there's not too much difference between getting it from the actual provider in like Circle, USDC, so Coinbase himself, or sorry, Circle himself even, getting it from them, USDC, or getting it off Uniswap. Same thing. It's just one, you're getting it from the actual source, when you get it from bridging it from another platform. But it's the same exact process pretty much. It's just maybe a bigger vote of confidence, if you will, getting it from Circle as you would get it from Uniswap. But either way, you get the approval nonetheless. And then VProgs, which we saw from Michael Sutton, that VProgs and Covenants are the two teams, Hans' side and Michael Sutton's side, they're kind of trying to bridge the gap together with Covenants and VProgs. And it's like Covenants should be mainnet testnet ready, or the words of it, so fully featured mainnet ready within the next 2 months, 40 to 50 days. So for all intents and purposes, the first 25 days of this year has been hectic, and it's not going to get better price-wise anytime soon, but the developments are continuing to accelerate. They continue to accelerate. Cas Maps is also going to be a big part in helping get an adoption and eyes on Kaspa, in my belief. And we'll hear more about this on Tuesday, when we have our Blockchain Banter podcast with me and Joe again, with Cas Maps, who's Seb, and also with Wolfie, Kaspa's head of listing and business development. This is exciting stuff for Kaspa all in all. We've got to keep that in mind and keep a close eye on all the stuff taking place right now. Markets will see a lot of volatility. We want to see a de-escalation in Iran, with Canada, with the seemingly the necessity want to acquire Greenland. We want to see a de-escalation in some capacity. We do. We also don't want to see this government shutdown take place. But we'll see what happens, because right now, Dems don't care. Dems don't care if a government shutdown, because if they have a government shutdown, it makes it easier to get Trump out in the midterms. So they don't care. It's the Republicans now have to care a lot more. So whether the DHS and Republicans want to continue in the sense of saying we need to have this funding, and then just saying we don't care, we're not doing it, and then we'll continue on going until one breaks, or we'll see how long it goes on for. The last government shutdown was, I believe, around 40 days. Let me quickly double check that with Google search. Government shutdown. It was 35 days. 35 days was how long the last government shutdown lasted. Or 35, 36 days. That's how long the last one lasted in October. Making history. Will we see that happen again? Will it be another one? I don't think it'll be as long, purely because I don't think the Republicans can afford it to be as long. I might be wrong in that. And the longer it goes on for, the more the markets will continue to act in a period of uncertainty. You'll see gold and silver go up more so. You'll see crypto, Kaspa come down more so. But if you want to find out what's happening going forward, if you want to have that belief, that incentive, that FOMO, or even just actual education, proof that no matter what, we should still be good this year, join the VIP. You'll learn, you'll get access to documentation like this from Dow Jones. We also, in this roundtable cover posts, looking for other major institutions. Lloyds Bank, the World Economic Forum, an interview with Bitwise, which all reaffirmed what should be taking place this year. From the catalyst that's going to come through to what these markets, what they're paying, what these institutions are looking at, what they're paying attention to. So we have a closer idea now of where the winners are going to be, what the markets are, what they're looking into. And then we can invest accordingly when we're in a better period right now. In the meantime, let's see how the markets behave. We still think AI is going to be huge. We actually got more insight, very big insight on that in our executive roundtable earlier today. Which is why Desync's one that I'm looking into. I think it could be a good asset. We've had a big update from Desync recently. That's going to be happening sometime this week. That could be a big thing for it, although the markets are still in a period of uncertainty. This may not do too much with Desync's price action. You've got Virtuals as well. Had a very just giving an update for the week in Virtuals ecosystem as well, which is also good to see as well. So things are still building, things are taking place, which is great news. So we'll see what happens going forward as well. Can you tease what's coming in 2026 from the big wigs? That's one of them. That's one of them. And there are many others on my Twitter page already. You know, I've leaked quite a few on my Twitter page. Like the one from McKinsey, which I'm falling down to find again. I mean, where is it? Yeah, here. Baker McKinsey confirming that the key trends are sustainable data centers and those assets and protocols and infrastructure that can bridge regulatory challenges and hurdles. The biggest reason why institutions are not getting involved right now, regulatory uncertainties. That lets you know that with regulation of the past, we'll see a massive flood of capital. Bitwise confirmed that CT, crypto Twitter, they are too bearish. And don't get me wrong, we have a right to be, given all these stuff we see online constantly, the noise. But the problem is, as I mentioned, it's noise. It is literally noise. It's what we are showcased, and therefore what fills our minds, and therefore making us really bearish, when in actuality, this is the information we should know, that we don't know. No one looks into this stuff. Either they can't find it because it's private and it's confidential, or because they don't know how to do the research. That's what my community is there for, to give you a centralized place. Funny talking about centralizing with Kaspa, but a community, a group of people who are actively doing research to find more about what's happening in the space. So we are prepared for these trends, for what's happening. getting ahead of the game, not getting distracted by this stuff, knowing what it's going to do for the markets, but understanding that this is just the short-term volatility and a small drop in the water for what is the larger picture, which is what is going to take over the space, where they're looking into, the winners of the companies, what they're looking into right here. You know, crypto become the financial infrastructure. Digital assets influence geopolitics. Crypto attract all this stuff is what we're looking into. And that's just one of literally hundreds of documents that are in the VIP, and they'll be posted more as well as we continue going through the cycle, keeping us logical during a massive period of time of emotion. Love your video. I'm just not a big fan of the long live video. I appreciate it very much, Saul, and yeah, I understand that. Hernandez, I understand that. A lot of people right now, that I know a lot of people don't like the live content, and that's quite evident because you look at my channel and you just look into the content. The lives on average probably get about 500 views, give or take, whereas the videos will get always above 1K. So I know that people prefer short form of content as opposed to live. I'm trying to make more videos. I need to do a lot better than that. I'm going to make hopefully a lot more this week. The live content is a way for me to at least still get something out every single day for everyone watching. And keeps us all talking in real time as well. It's a bit more of a personal thing as well. It's not, if I'm making a video, you're always going to just see the guy on screen, whereas this time I'm going to actually have a conversation about things and talk about it. Some people do prefer it, some people don't, but either way, you'll get some content short form this week. And if you don't want to have the content, you just want to have the information just on a screen so you can read through it for yourself, once more recommend the VIP. You've got free trials galore. We can tune in, check out everything for a free time period, get access to the information in there, learn, and if you think it's worth your while and you can make more benefit from that and become a better trader and investor, which we are trying to help teach people in that, which have been successful so far, you can sign up long term. But there's a lot taking place right now. And the stuff we looked into earlier from Lloyd's, from World Economic Forum, from Dow Jones we just showcased, from Bitwise and many other institutions, and these other head research analysts talking about the whole green situation. We are as ready as we can be, and we're going to continue learning more. We were prepared. I mean, if we actually quickly showcase just a snippet of, I'm not going to showcase the actual audio, but just to showcase what the markets look like.
So welcome back.
Markets look like. You know, right here, we look at this is Kaspa right now. So Kaspa, we're sitting around here. We've seen Kaspa come back significantly more in the span of 5 hours, another 5% pullback. So we were already predicting ahead of time the markets are going to see a big pullback in anticipation for the TradFi market opening tomorrow based on the recent news. So again, you can get ahead of the game and be prepared for the market trends in the VIP. You can learn a lot more in there as well. Good evening, Brett. You're doing very, very well. Late to the party. Still here, brother. Welcome back, my man. We are not wrong, just early. Yeah, I mean, we are overall early in crypto, although this is going to be the definitive year. This is going to be the definitive year. If you cannot make your name for yourself in this year, you're going to struggle significantly. That's not my word for it. That's institutional analysts. So once more, you can find out more and learn that stuff in the VIP. I do agree on one thing. I've been saying for months, Kaspa needs good marketing team and marketing. Yeah, we need a media outreach. We need better media outreach. We definitely do. And we need a way of better marketing Kaspa, as I highlighted, not as a crypto, but as a piece of infrastructure. You know, people talk about XRP. No one talks about the XRP Max. You talk about XRP. They talk about it not as it's a crypto. They talk about in regards to the XRP ledger and its infrastructure. All the big currencies that do well, they don't talk about the asset called the crypto. They talk about it as a piece of infrastructure. Doesn't mean they're right, but that's how they front it. And more people now are fronting Kaspa as a piece of infrastructure, but people still call it as just being a Bitcoin 2.0 crypto. That's not the mindset we should have for Kaspa. While it is true, it's not the mindset. We should have the mindset of Kaspa is a decentralized global institutional rail that can handle. It has very, very fast finality, extremely cheap. When you're looking at what banks and institutions are looking into, what they're researching, this is exactly what they're talking about. The need to having an infrastructure that can bridge these regulatory challenges. That's what Kaspa has because it's decentralized. I bought more today. Does that mean I'm Wallet 1? Well, Wallet 1 didn't add more today from the looks of things, so I'm guessing not. That was 7 days ago. It needs more big players and whales to swallow up supply faster than it mined. I mean, yes, but the problem is, and that's the reason why YouTube's not doing very well either. A lot of the OGs and whales and whatnot in crypto, those who kind of got in crypto for that sake, they still very much believe in the 4-year cycle thesis. It's dead. Hopefully that'll be proven this year, but that is dead. We're not in a 4-year cycle. It never has been a 4-year cycle, but a lot of people who are in crypto. For 2021, for this year right now, 2026, we're at the lowest viewership for YouTube crypto since 2021. The last time we saw that, bull to bear. So we're in a very similar position right now. So that is why you're seeing a lot of people not tuning in, because they still believe in that. Point being is, big players are not, and there still are quite a fair number of them, but a lot of the people right now that I even know who are even in crypto, they're actually not in it too heavily right now. Either they're holding stablecoins or they've gone pivoted straight toward stocks right now. Which, to be fair, we have looked into a little bit. I still think crypto's going to do great this year, and that's because my research tells me that it will do. But crypto right now, because it's so heavily risk on in a market that is so heavily risk off, is not performing very well. But that's just our opportunity, therefore, to take advantage of that. Take advantage of the headwinds. We know short is going to probably come in, so you can maybe leverage that. Of course, do it at your own risk, not financial advice. And when the markets revert and the tailwinds come in, then we go to Valhalla. We make the gains. What cold wallets do you like, QC? Tantrum, let's just go to. I think One Key's not bad, although I did see from Kaspa Silver that there have been some issues with One Key recently, so he went to Ledger. The top 3 that I know of, that I have had been established, is One Key, Tantrum, and Ledger. My personal favorite is Tantrum. Hola, Don Carlos, my man. Been a minute. Great alpha with Warrior last week. Keep up the good work, but I appreciate you very much, my man. More to come, most definitely. This week's also going to be very, very interesting as we talk about Kaspa adoption with Seb and Wolfie. I like the long lines. I'm glad you do, Rizzy. Fun fact, Soviet ICBM used ATIRI video game for primary guidance computer. Interesting. I'm not entirely sure. And it's a fun fact. I'm not entirely sure what it means. I have to actually look into what you mean by that. I'll be honest. And the relevance of it, I should say. But I like a fun fact. I mean, I have a quick look right now in regards to. I'm trying to think what. Actually, could you do me a favor, go through and explain I mean, fun fact, yes, but the relevance in regards to why that's a fun fact for what we're talking about right now, if it has any relevance, that is. Welcome back, Wing Hong with Moon yet? Not yet. Thoughts on recent hash rate fluctuation? Understandable. Capital prices going down. Miners therefore can't sustain the value and they can't sustain the network because they're not making any money. They're making less money from mining capital right now, so they're turning it off. The thing is, and this is why it's not as serious as everyone. It's not great, but here's the thing: the price is coming down for Kaspa right now. Price is going down, and because people can't keep mining Kaspa at a loss, they're turning it off. That means those who are still mining it, they're having now more blocks they're able to mine. So don't get me wrong, it's not good. But I'm trying to think of a better way to explain it if I even can. I don't think I can explain it any better than that, to be honest. Yeah, the price right now for Kaspa is around 3.9 cents. If it keeps going down, people are going to continue losing money on Kaspa, and therefore they're going to turn their miners off. I know that people in the community already have turned their miners off, which is completely fair enough. But those who have kept their miners on, more miners turn off, they have the possibility to mine even more blocks, therefore make amends. They end up making, generating more Kaspa and making more money, therefore. Still probably not making profit still, but they're still helping sustain the network and they're still willing to take those losses. And as long as people are still there doing that, then Kaspa will be fine. And then when you have the adoption coming through, you'll see prices go up, you see miners all turn back on, the hash rate will all go up with it as well. The hash rate and price are, I think hash rate is important, but I don't pay too much mind to it, because the truth of the matter is hash rate is just another form of metric to just identify the price. If price is down, hash rate's down. That's how it goes. If price is up, hash rate's up. Hash rate is another indication of price. What matters more so is development, adoption, regulations. These things actually matter for the overall landscape of crypto and the project, and that will also result in the price going up, and that will result in the hash rate going up as well. Yeah, as Crypto said, perfectly right. Increased in rewards for miners still running and can end up profitable if enough people stop mining. Yeah, so the more people who stop mining, those who are still mining end up increasing their rewards they make from the mining. So it actually is not too bad in the end. In the situation that happens. So I'm not too worried about the hash rate. Of course, the Kaspa key is coming down, so the hash rate, it's not ideal, but it balances out. Yeah, it balances out, so it's not too concerning. What matters more so is that we get the adoption, which is what you see in the works of the KRI, what they're trying to do, and what you really should be doing is looking, either finding this information in the VIP so you know where it's all there, and we post stuff frequently in there so you get continuous updates on institutional sentiment, or do the research to find the information for yourself and look at what they're looking into, understand what they want to invest into. And that will also, and when what you'll see with time and time again is the language they use, it does correlate so closely to what Kaspa is as an infrastructure. To go back to Baker McKinsey again, this is so significant. 2026 will reward those that can transform legal and regulatory challenges into efficiencies and competitive differentiations. Long and short of it, the winners of 2026 will be those that embrace flexible principle-based regulations, so rewarding those that can turn regulatory hurdles, like the difference in policies between MiCA and the Genius Bill in Europe and the United States, make that regulatory hurdle into a massive competitive advantage, which is what Warp is with Kaspa. That's why I don't get too flustered on the price in the short term and the hash rate, because these things, while important, the building's what ultimately results in the value of the project. The value is not in the price, the value is in the actual infrastructure itself. And Kaspa's got a lot of stuff coming up this first quarter and throughout this year that's going to help increase that value market of Kaspa. Will it increase the price? When the market shifts back to risk on, it's likely. But when the market's in risk off, it's unlikely, because right now no one cares about risk off. Forget Kaspa, look what you're seeing in the whole crypto market. No one gives a damn about risk off right now. People don't like this market, it's terrible. Right, okay, fair enough, guys. I thought so. Okay, well, fun fact either way, so I appreciate the fun fact. But yeah, right now everyone's in risk off. It's silver and gold. Gold's gonna break 5k tomorrow. Silver's gonna value up high as well, probably make 110 wouldn't surprise me. Continue going up. When this FUD dissipates, if it dissipates, hopefully it will, and investors go from risk off to rotational to risk on, which is going to happen. We actually saw a small snippet of that last week before this development now. Then we'll start seeing these markets boom, and then you'll start seeing assets with real infrastructure, because what they're looking at is not hype. One more snippet actually from this as well. Regarding AI, but still important, the AI hype of 2023 or 2021's crypto speculation won't repeat in 2026. Hype is a thing of the past. We saw AI boom in 2023. I made money off the AI meme coin rubbish, and in 2021 as well. We saw that hype. FOMO's still going to be a thing. You'll still get gains off hype. Memes will still perform, but these institutions are not investing in hype. They're investing in infrastructure. Markets now demand accountability, proof that AI spending generates productivity, evidence that tokenized delivers efficiency, and demonstration that crypto serves real economic needs. So when we're looking to our AI assets in our VIP community, our executive playbook, our AI playbook, we're not looking into, we have some speculative ones in there as a potential hedge, but we are heavily looking to ones that actually generate value, real utility, evidence that tokenization delivers efficiency, and demonstrates that crypto serves real economic needs. This is something that Kaspa can very easily slide into. If you want access to the full document and so much more, once more, check out the VIP, links down below in the description, and get access to all the free trials, leverage that stuff in there as well, and learn more. You can get a whole 5 weeks. If you use it properly, you get 7 free days and then a whole extra month. So that's 37 days worth of free exclusive content. that can allow you to level up your trading game, your investing game, know how the markets are going to move. And then after that, you can then decide to sign up for longer term and continue learning with us and making gains. Your choice, of course. Links are down below in the description. But that being said, family, that does now conclude today's Executive Roundtable. Hopefully you enjoyed today's stream. Tomorrow will be a time of volatility, probably some headwinds, and we'll be here tomorrow talking about it as well. And the next recent news. We've got some big updates coming out next week for macro, for geopolitical, and for project natives as well. I think Kaspa has some big updates coming through soon. So stay tuned for that as well. But that being said, family, if you enjoyed, leave a like, share anything, and subscribe for more. And that being said, have a great day, good evening, and good night.